Welcome, I'm Bill Wake. This is my summary of the work we've done on Twitch this week. We're working on a set of tools for dulcimer players, and the focus this week was on a calendar for festivals, so events you might go to in the future at some point. This week we created a Maker Magic tile, so it's really a developer tool to let us clear the database to help us. So we were testing initial load of the database. So when you start the app the first time, you don't have any songs in your list, so we load those into the database so you can use them in the future. We also spent some time giving the tiles different colors and then focused most of the week on making event listing work. So we have the basic one working sorted by date, and we've started working on sorting by state, but we're not there yet. Let's see a demo and take a code walkthrough. To demonstrate the database load, let's look at Jamlog, which is one of the ones that has songs in it. Notice I've tagged Amazing Grace with saying I played it today, and same thing. Well, Ambient Dreams is a made-up one I made up, but Angeline the Baker's on our list. It was the 7th. Let's make it the 10th. Okay, so I've got some performance information on them, and I've added a few new ones. All right, now if we go to this Maker Magic tool, this is, it's Maker, sort of the idea Mike Hill has of a Maker app versus your regular app that the developers have needs sometimes that the basic app won't cover. And we may have a version that has developer tools in it, such as clearing the database. So clear database, if you click it, you get the option to clear it or cancel. And I'm going to clear it. If we go back to our Jamlog, we've got no tunes in the list. Same thing for our index of first lines. Nothing there. All right, so at this point, this is like the app would be when you first start up. So let's restart it and see. We should see the songs loading back in. So that went pretty quickly, but they're there. But notice the performance data is gone, and the one I made up, like Ambient Dreams, that's gone as well. All right, the next thing to notice is we put some colors on these. They were originally all, I think, this brown, and we've used our palette, which is brown, green, black, and this very light pink. Those are our 4 basic colors plus gray as well. So for our main tools, for user visible tools, I'm sticking to those. I used red to kind of remind me like, hey, you're doing something dangerous, like yellow, screaming yellow, to help with that. But for the real ones, I want them to all be somewhat unique looking and using a palette that fits in with the rest of the app. Okay, we could do more. I don't know, if we added 5 more tools, we might feel like our palette was a little limited, but we're here now. Also, I gave them a little opacity. You can probably see the crack between the boards just under that first line view, and stays there, which is fine. Just trying to make things a little visually interesting and yet coherent to the rest of the application. The calendar is where we spent most of our work this week. We have the notion of sorting by date and sorting by state. We haven't really done sorting by state, so let's just look at date for now. Each month that involves an event involves anything in the current month or later. So this is January 2025 as I present this. So yes, this event started in December, but it is running in January 2025. So it makes the list for December. There's no app starting in January, but the next one is, or no event starting in January. The next one is March 7th, this one in Bellevue, and then March 10th, this one in Nashville. So they're just listed within a month by start date. Now we also have the notion of showing details. And if you select that, we get the notes and the URL. At some point, I'll probably put a little link button so you can jump right to that page. But for now, it's just visible. Okay, the filtering we don't have working yet, but our focus has been on the events and the subtle rules around making sure events that should show up do show up, and where do they show up and all that. So that's all right. Like I said, we're starting on the state, but all we've done is hard-coded a couple of states and said list every event regardless of state. So there's no action there yet. This is just a feeling so we can get a feeling for whether the interface works for us or not. Already, I know I'd like to spell these out, at least here. I don't know if I need to here, but on the top, I do want them spelled out. So we'll have to work on that too. Okay, so the code for this, let's start with that maker tile. That was the maker magic, and we create a tile. We have a wrapper, but our wrapper now specifies the background and foreground colors. So the maker tile passes this to tile wrapper. Tile wrapper passes these along down to tile, and then the tile uses the background color, uses the foreground color. And so a bit of extra stuff passed around just to enforce that the colors come out like we want. So the clearing the database happens in Maker View. Really all there is, it's the button to clear database, and then it presents that dialog at the bottom. If you say clear database, it does the action to delete the model and save it. And if you cancel, it just ignores it. So this will force all entities that are songs to be deleted from the database. That's really the only entity we have right now. So it basically deletes everything. Now to use it, I mean, to get the reason we wanted that to test with is we'd like to say, if you start with nothing in your database, we should load it from a particular file. So that happens in the content view, which is the main front page view. And when it appears the first time, it checks whether the songs list is empty. If it is, it reads, this is in JSON. It's something we did, I don't know, a few weeks back, but we'll just go through, find each song, insert it into the database, and then save the whole thing. So it happens really quick. So we've done loads of much bigger files with not any significant delay. So I'm not too worried about that happening here each time. But with that in place, when you restart the app, you get the effect of loading it. If you already have an app with the database already has stuff, then this doesn't trigger and you just keep what you had. Okay, and let's go to the calendar view. So the big action for this is that list. And so it goes through the calendar and asks for the visible months. And then within each month, it shows month by month in a section. And within each section are all the events that start in that month. And let's see the calendar for that. So visible months, we take the events, we take the ones that are still active as of the start date or that end after the start date. And we map them to their own start date. So if we had an event that started in December but ended in January, the end date would qualify for January, but we want to show the start date. We want to show the start of the event, so we'll do the start date for the event. We take all those in a set and we sort them, and that's the list for the section headers. And then for the events themselves, again, we're going to take the events, find the ones that are active. They've got their start date equal the current month year, so only those. And then we'll sort that list by start date. That gives us the total list of events, and we're good for that one. I might do a little more sophisticated here. You know, it's start date, and if start dates are the same, do end date and so on. Okay, and then the states, well, we just have placeholders. What states do you want to talk about? I made up a couple. What events should I show? Well, just show all of them. So it's just enough to let the UI run, but doesn't do anything. We've got an entity US state, which right now is just a string. I don't know the right name for this. Well, it can't be state. We learned that the hard way because that's already in use. In some cases, it could be a foreign country. So I don't know. We'll have to work on our naming there. But at any rate, it's going to be the same model. Get the list of states. That gives us the section headers. In each state, show us all the events that happen after the start. So coming up, we're going to keep working on sorting by state. And I think that'll take probably a couple days next week. We'll then move to filtering by name or state. And then finally, for this calendar, we need to load the calendar data. And we looked at a variety of possibilities, but I think what we'll do is the original calendar will be a Google Calendar, and we'll export the calendar data as an ICS file, which is sort of a RFC standard. With that, there's a library out there. We took a quick look. It looks like it'll do what we need, and it'll pull the things in from ICS format, and we can convert them to our structures and show them. So I think that should fill most of the week next week. Maybe beyond. We'll see. Depends how easy the ICS is, I suspect. All right, now we meet Monday through Thursday, 2 to 4:30 Eastern Time or 7 to 9:30 p.m. UTC at xb123.com/Twitch. We'll take you over to the live session if it's running. And xb123.com/YouTube takes you to the old sessions. Time delayed, I think about 2 weeks, and lightly edited. Hope you can join us sometime. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.